Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew? It's your boy DJ New Kid, your girl.
Here, Nicole.
We back on the channel with another
Kid and C original.
Hey, welcome back to the channel, man. Hey, we got a good one today. Now, y'all saw the title. I'm gonna have to take some stuff out the title, so you saw what the title was, but this the real title to the video. 10 real life murder plots twists. I don't think I used that M word.
Huh?
I don't think I used the M word in our title. Murder, she wrote. Murder, she... 10 real life plot twists. 10 plot twists that happen in real life. Y'all see the title.
Yeah, y'all gonna see it.
So with that being said, man, before we get into this one, make sure you check out the links in the description box down below. You already know where to go. If you want to further support, just check down below. Also, we always take this brief moment of time when we always got to show our appreciation. So, salute to the comment of the day, man. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. We highly appreciate our comments around here. So, y'all keep dropping them down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you lock it in with a thumbs up. But, again, it's 10 real life plot twists. Yo, YouTube be tripping, bro. So we just gotta stay on the right path. So you ready?
What you said? Yes, I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's check it out. Let's see what this is about, y'all.
10 real-life murder plot twists. Number 10. The drag queen's trunk. Get ready for this one. This story is insane. Bobby Worley, a man from North Carolina, spent most of his life in and out of jail. In 1963, after he'd spent 3 years in Sing Sing prison, he was released and decided to change his name to Bobby Wells. He moved in with one of his brothers in the Bronx, where in 1968 he got into an argument with a neighbour. When the woman threatened to call the police, Bobby decided to cut and run. The problem was he disappeared. His family never heard from him again. 25 years passed. Suddenly, in 1993, Bobby was linked to Dorian Corey, a famous drag queen of the 1960s. Corey had died, and when cleaning out her Manhattan apartment, her friends discovered a large trunk containing a partially mummified body. A fingerprint check identified this body as Bobby Worley. The police determined Wells died from a gunshot to the back of the head about 15 years before, but who pulled the trigger remains open to speculation. Number 9.
Have you heard of that other person, the drag queen?
No.
Oh, cause you shook your head like, oh, okay, I know who this is. I'm just trying to call him. I'm like,
no.
Maybe they said they were famous, so I'm like, oh, maybe she heard them. No. Damn.
I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I was saying like I know the person. I was like, okay.
The fact they died and then they found another.
But him, yes.
What the fuck? What? And this number
for 15 years. 15 years.
And that's on number 10.
Right.
We got 9 more.
Exactly.
Postcards, pools, and fake Rockefellers. In 1985, John and Linda Sohus went on a 2-week trip to New York. 2 months later, they were reported missing. At that time, the Sohus had moved into John's mum's house in San Marino, California. The woman was also renting the property's guest house to Christopher Chichester. According to a friend of the couple, Chichester informed John's mother her son had found a job opportunity and moved abroad with Linda, which was odd, don't you think? However, Chichester himself also disappeared. Meanwhile, Linda's friends and family kept receiving postcards from France. But the very first twist in the tale came in 1994. New owners of the San Marino property were digging a pool in the backyard when they found remains, later identified as John's. But what about Linda and Chichester? To answer that, we have to jump forward to 2008. Christian Gerhardt's was arrested for kidnapping his daughter, and things began to emerge. For one, Gerhardt's had been passing himself off as a member of the Rockefeller family, and secondly, a fingerprint check also revealed that he was Christopher Chichester. Chichester was subsequently sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of John, but unfortunately to date, Linda is still missing. Number 8.
Did he possibly murder her too? I can't be stopping like this.
Guilty, but not quite. Around the same time, in 1989, across the country in Warwick, Rhode Island, 29-year-old Victoria Cushman was found dead inside her apartment. On paper, the case seemed pretty easy to solve. Cushman had been involved in a relationship with a local police officer called Jeffrey Scott Hornoff. When he denied any involvement with the woman, investigators still became very suspicious. However, Officer Hornoff had a pretty solid alibi for that night. Multiple friends reported he was at a party with them on the night of the murder. Still, the Rhode Island State Police was under pressure. They needed a culprit, and Hornoff was the closest one. The officer was charged in 1994. The following 6-week trial of 1996 found him guilty of first-degree murder, sentencing him to life in prison. In 2002, Hornoff was obviously still serving his sentence when, surprise, 45-year-old Todd Barry confessed to the murder of Cushman straight to the Rhode Island Attorney General. He claimed he was her boyfriend at the time and ultimately received a 30-year sentence. As for Hornoff, he was immediately released and cleared of all wrongdoing, but understandably, he filed a lawsuit for $600,000 to the city of Warwick. Number 7.
He probably killed her because he found out they were involved. And then he got mad. And
But I wonder what made him confess, though.
You never know. Maybe he got caught doing for something else and he just like had clear conscience. You never know. Because some people be want to own, especially if they start killing multiple people. They be like, man, that one body mine. Because some people are shit like that.
Yeah.
A family murder taking a few twists. Sugarland, Texas, home of the Whitakers, December 2003. The oldest son of Kent and Tricia Whitaker, Bart, came to visit his parents to announce he had finally finished all of his exams at Sam Houston State University. To celebrate, his parents took both of their sons out for dinner. Once they got back home, Bart stayed in the car looking for his missing phone. Kent, Tricia, and Kevin, the younger brother, went inside the house and were attacked by an armed robber who killed Kevin and Tricia. Kent, wounded, was able to see Bart rushing into the house and getting shot by the killer. However, the police weren't much impressed by Bart's heroic gesture. Why had nothing been stolen? Plus, it was also discovered Bart had already tried to hire one of his friends to kill his family, making it look like a botched robbery. Pretty much the definition of suspicious. Still, he managed to escape to Mexico, where he was arrested 2 years later to be sentenced to death. He avoided execution at the very last minute thanks to a campaign for his life led by none other than his father. Number 6. The Manson victim who returned from the grave. The story of Charles Manson, his family, and their crimes is well known, but not everybody knows the story of one of the cult leader's would-be victims, Bernard Crowe. Crowe had the pleasure of meeting Manson a few months before the murders of Sharon Tate and the LaBiancas of 1969. At the time, a member of the family known as Charles Watson, or his nickname Tex, got into a dispute over money with Crowe. According to Crowe, Tex stole from him, so he threatened to kill everyone at Manson's ranch if Tex didn't give his money back. Now here's something interesting. Manson, who's well known for sending other people to do the dirty work, decided to handle the situation by himself. He went to Crowe's apartment and shot him in the stomach. And that was it. To Manson, Crowe was dead. He even mentioned him among his victims in the sensationalized 1971 trial. Thing is though, Crowe was in fact still alive. He had just never gone to the police about the shooting and never retaliated against Manson.
Wow.
Number 5. Psychic vision. This is a story that involves a psychic in a crime investigation. Sounds insane, but not that unusual. Let's look at the bigger picture. In 1980, 31-year-old Melanie Uribe from Burbank, California, went missing. Only 2 days after her disappearance, Etta Smith, a clerk at the Lockheed Corporation of Burbank, reached out to the police claiming she had a vision about Melanie. Smith reported that hearing of the woman's disappearance on the radio triggered a psychic vision in her. She saw Melanie's body in a rural area. Within 45 minutes, the police escorted Smith to Lopez Canyon, where her instincts believed Melanie was hidden. Seems like a nice gesture, but not many saw it that way. The police believed Smith knew Melanie's whereabouts because she killed her, so they put her in jail for 4 days before they realised she was indeed innocent. The real killers had been tracked down, and it was determined that Smith had no connection to them. She was just genuinely trying to help. Number 4. Familiar.
And I do be thinking that sometimes when and that's the reason why I feel like they probably don't. If you believe or you don't believe, they don't use their abilities all the time because it can get them in trouble. So, but she was able to lead them to the body and discover. You know what I'm saying? I was personally me. I don't think she had knew something. You know what I'm saying from the jump. You knew too much. Yeah. Then nobody know unless you was the killer. So how the hell? You know what I'm saying? You never know.
Handwriting. Ted Kaczynski, commonly known as Unabomber, needs no introduction. He was a murderous terrorist active throughout the 1980s and early 1990s. He managed to elude law enforcement for about 18 years until 1995. At the time, he'd sent out his 35,000-word manifesto to American magazines and newspapers like the New York Times and Washington Post. This was his way of explaining his beliefs and theories on how technology was evil and had corrupted society, to the point where people should disband the technological system and live in agrarian tribes. Little did he know that with this manifesto, he'd also signed his demise. Literally. Kaczynski's sister-in-law and his brother David saw the published manifesto and recognized the terrorist's writing style. They even submitted writing samples to the FBI for analysis, which led the authorities to a match. So, on April 6, 1996, the police arrested the infamous Unabomber. The following trial sentenced him to life in prison. Number 3. The killer is not always the husband. This story dates back to September 2008 in Sweden. The dead body of 63-year-old Agneta Westland was found near a lake by none other than her husband, Ingemar Westland. This seemed suspicious to the authorities, who arrested him and held him in custody for 10 days. However, they found no evidence to tie him to the murder, so he was released. Still, the investigation went on, but the break in the case arrived when Agneta's forensic analysis came back. It reported that the poor woman had been randomly kicked to death by a drunk moose during her evening walk, which already sounds unreal, but how was it drunk? Well, according to Swedish Radio International, the animal, which is usually pretty shy, can become aggressive after eating fermented fallen apples.
Oh.
Number 2.
And that gotta be hard on him. Like, not only the fact that he found his wife dead, then y'all turn around and blame him.
Lock him up for 10 days. And then what if they never, like...
He could have drove himself insane to the fact that he could have started thinking,
like,
did I kill her? And I can't remember.
Sometimes that do happen.
Remember,
that does happen.
Oh boy, they said back home,
Yeah.
oh boy, that happened to oh boy.
Sometimes that does happen.
And he wasn't even the killer. Everybody blamed him, and he started freaking out, like, because... Like do I not remember something?
Yeah.
Like, you never know.
Fake chewing gum survey. To find out why the police set up a fake chewing gum survey, we have to start from the beginning, precisely in 1976, when the police discovered the murdered body of 70-year-old Blanche Kimball in her Augusta apartment. Investigators immediately tracked down 27-year-old Gary Robert Wilson, who had stayed at Kimball's home briefly before the murder, but he managed to skip town. Not really a great day for Maine State Police, which found themselves with no prime suspect. The case went cold for decades. But in 2010, there was a turning point in the investigation. 2 homeless men got into a fight in Seattle, and one of them, Gary Raub, slashed the other with a knife. Analysis revealed DNA on Raub's knife matched with Gary Robert Wilson. But to be super sure he was Blanche Kimball's killer, the police needed another DNA sample. First, they found Raub wandering the streets. Then, an undercover officer paid him to participate in a fake chewing gum survey, which consisted of testing different flavors of gum. At that point, the police received and analyzed the DNA on the gum. The results showed that Raub and Wilson were indeed the same person. The 64-year-old man was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Dang.
Number...
You get away with it for that long?
Crazy.
That is...
I'd have been like, oh, I don't know. I wouldn't have been like that. I would have took the money too.
But because he's homeless, and you know what I'm saying?
He didn't know that the man was like a...
Yeah.
Dang.
1. A double homicide was actually a weird coincidence. In the summer of 2017, the French police came across a puzzling crime scene in the village of Orthon-de-Perche. 2 friends, Oliver Boudin and Lucien Perrault, were found dead on the porch. The body of Boudin was found lying on his back on the ground, while Perrault was found slumped on a chair at a terrace table. Since it looked like they'd both died around the same time with no signs of robbery or fight, prosecutors assumed they had been poisoned. But that didn't last for long, because after 5 days of investigation, the mystery was solved. Doctors determined that Lucien had choked on a chunk of beef rib. Olivier, who had a pre-existing condition, had a heart attack, presumably from the shock of seeing his friend choke. So those were 10 real-life murder plot twists.
What the world?
Bro, I am discombobulated.
That last one? Like, dang.
I don't
That's
know, man.
crazy.
Hey, shout out to All Time 10s. That was a great ass video, bruh. Like, that first one, though. That first one, that was the best one. That first one. But these were some good ones, bruh. I ain't gonna cap, man. Like,
Ooh, wait.
Hey, if y'all want some more of these type of videos, let us know in the comment section. So we can, y'all gotta let us know what y'all like so we can be able to bring over here the amazing content. So y'all let us know in the comment section down below. But as always, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Coast.
We are.
Kid and C.
We are, y'all.
Ain't no time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar, 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 dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from